So economists have said that their outlook for India is cautiously optimistic.
I personally feel that it is a very diplomatic way of saying that, look, this is a wait and watch period.
Understood.
So we still have the strong positive sentiment going, but the current situation with the tariffs and the geopolitical situation, oil prices, inflation, everything being in a state of influx.
Everybody realizes that we are one of the largest, not only economies, but also we are the fastest growing large economy.
Correct. So first step to creating affordable housing is infrastructure.
Absolutely. Otherwise, you're left him in the boondocks somewhere.
Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of the News Roundup with Crop News Time. Here we sit down with industry experts and discuss the latest events and news in real estate, in India and across the globe. With me today is Mr. Balaji Rao and Abhay Rao. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So today I'd like to first talk to you about RBI's decision to maintain the repo rate at 5.5%. In 2025, we saw three major cuts, bringing it down from 6.5% to 5.5%. This month, they've decided to maintain it. How does it impact the real estate sector?
See, a repo rate cut is always linked as to how the central bank of a country views the forecasted inflation.
Right.
Because typically, interest rate which is set by the central bank or the Reserve Bank of India in our country is to indicate a real rate of interest which takes care of inflation plus gives you the two additional 200 basis points of real interest on top of that. So if everybody expects the inflation to be managed around 2%.
Yes.
But in reality, we sometimes edge towards 3 and 4%.
Right.
And the reverse repo rate always indicates that.
Okay.
You understand? So yes, when we brought it down in Feb and then in April, and then again we did it in June, the three consecutive ones which we did, which indicated a 100 bips point drop, it indicated that the inflation was being managed and RBI felt confident that the inflation is going to remain subdued. And so it was bringing the repo rate down.
Right.
Today, when we maintain it, it's a clear indication that we believe that all the volatility in the global markets and the geopolitical situation,
Yes.
especially with regard to oil, we don't know for sure if this embargo and these tariffs kick in and we are not allowed to import Russian oil.
Right.
Okay. And we have to import from other countries. Maybe the price of oil, very likely actually the price of oil might shoot up. And we are dependent, 90% of oil is imported and we are dependent a lot on that. And oil price also fuels inflation,
Right.
unintended, literally.
Right.
So the fact is, if RBI is feeling that the oil prices are going to maybe be volatile and might go up, they will be cautious enough not to keep bringing down the repo rate because they have to keep it in line, saying that maybe it will, again spike up the inflation a little bit. So I think it was a very prudent decision they took to keep the repo rate unchanged for the moment, to view till the next time, a couple of months later, as to how it's going to impact all these so-called changes which are happening in the trade wars, literally. So it indicates, as far as we are concerned, that the inflation might still remain the same around 2-3%, maybe up to 4% here and there. It indicates that the interest rates will remain the same, like home loans would be around 8% plus minus. So it indicates for our sector that you might not get an advantage from the interest rate coming down in the next few months.
Right.
We have to work with these interest rates. And we have to assume that there will be volatility in the prices and how do we bake it in when we are doing computations and calculations
Right.
for our projects.
So economists have said that their outlook for India is cautiously optimistic. So this is in line with that sentiment, market sentiment, so as to say.
See, cautiously optimistic is a good term to use because you're saying that we are optimistic, but we are cautious because this optimism might get undermined by other people's action.
Yes.
Because it's not unilateral. So if other people rock the boat, then will we be still optimistic? Maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally feel that it is a very diplomatic way of saying that, look, this is a wait and watch period.
Understood.
And it is a wait and watch period for everyone. So how does that augur for our industry? That's also wait and watch, because I would tend to believe that in the industry, everybody will be waiting and watching, whether it is new supply or demand offtake.
Understood.
Till this settles down.
Yeah, so it's kind of like they're trying to balance the economic expectations going forward, because there was a few weeks ago we were celebrating the GDP becoming the 4th largest in the world and stuff like that. So we still have the strong positive sentiment going, but the current situation with the tariffs and the geopolitical situation, oil prices, inflation, everything being in a state of influx, I guess this is the RBI's way of just trying to balance it all out, saying that we are neither reacting as strongly as maybe some other countries in the world, because since we do have a better economic outlook than most, but nor are we only banking on that, and we are a little bit cautious at the moment.
How do you see this impacting foreign interest in real estate in India?
See, the foreign direct investment, FDI, as we call it, into real estate has been pretty steady.
Yes.
And it sometimes it waxes and wanes, and sometimes it becomes sectoral. Like during the good old boom years, that was 2006 to 2008, till the GFC hit, global financial crisis, it all came from the US markets.
Right.
Okay. Then slowly it shifted to Middle East, then it went into Southeast. Now we have a lot of interest from the Japanese investors who are long-term in play. So there's always been a foreign investment interest in the Indian real estate, primarily because everybody realizes that we are one of the largest, not only economies, as Abhay said, we are the 4th largest maybe, but also we are the fastest growing large economy.
Correct. Yeah.
And it's not very easy. It's not just a base. It's also the growth which attracts someone, because the base is stable. Right. Already people have invested. It's secondary investment. But the primary investments have to come from the growth factor. So we have a growth rate.
Right.
And so that growth rate is what should attract always the foreign investors to come.
Understood.
And if they believe that Indian rupee would be volatile, they would be taking forex covers and hedging costs. But if anything, if they believe that the Indian rupee might weaken, then it naturally, I would think they would be worried to that extent, unless it is within a certain band, which generally the rupee weakens against the dollar on a long-term basis around 4% per year, 3 to 4%. So everybody bakes that in when they do the calculations.
There's been a boom in recent real estate IPOs. Now, we've spoken about this before also on our platform, but to talk about it from, say, a slightly more different angle this time around. So the market is very buoyant for IPOs. Real estate IPOs have, in the last decade, we've seen approximately 47 companies going public. Okay. Since 2021 itself, we've had 21 real estate IPOs. So it's the last 5 years, we've seen a lot of companies choose to go this way. So my first question is, why are so many real estate companies that were traditionally private, traditionally family-run businesses choosing to shift in this way to go public?
See, you have to understand one of the new frontiers of real estate that is growing very rapidly and expanding and pushing the envelope is corporatization.
Right.
So what we mean by corporatization is when mom and pop stores or privately closely held companies tend to institutionalize themselves by becoming corporations, companies, public limited companies, go for IPOs, have a wider investor base. You understand? So the idea is, why do people do it? Because then you have access to larger pools of capital.
Yeah.
Correct? So why do I need larger pools of capital? Typically, if you take on projects where the land prices are rising, where the project size and scale is increasing, then I need larger capital today than I might have needed it 5 years back.
Okay.
Because to do the same sort of a project 5 years back, if I had needed 50 crores, today it might be 100 crores.
Right.
Okay. And always having to bootstrap it is not easy.
Right.
Okay. Through internal resources or surpluses. So you need broader pools of capital. So most real estate developers who are bullish on a long-term basis in real estate believe that they need to have access to the capital markets.
Okay.
So they will wait for the right opportune moment to go public,
Right.
or where they've already gone public to do follow-on public offers, to do QIPs, which we are seeing all of them coming in, because you need that broader capital market resource for your growth and expansion.
Understood.
Okay. So that's exactly what we are seeing. The time is opportune because everybody agrees and believes that real estate is a domestic oriented market.
Yes.
It's more stable.
Yeah.
It can be the engine of growth for the whole economy.
Right.
Because it creates so many other jobs. There's allied to 250, more than 250 plus industries, like
Right.
whether it's cement, steel, paint, timber, you can name it. And it's all allied to the construction.
Yeah.
So I think people realize, given that we need an urbanization push, given the way we are growing in both in GDP as well as increasing our manufacturing base, increasing the service sector. So I feel all of these factors
Yes.
will determine that real estate is on a growth path.
Okay.
And if it is on a growth and expansion path, sure, there will be hiccups from quarter to quarter, where sometimes things might be a bit muted
Right.
because of volatile local situations.
Right.
Okay. But overall, I think secular trend in real estate will be rising very rapidly.
What do you mean by that?
To put it it means that we believe that the graph line of real estate in the next decade will be a constant upward line.
Okay.
There will be maybe ups and downs around this line, but the secular line, the baseline, would always be at a 45 degrees incline, in my opinion. It'll keep steadily rising.
Okay.
And the growth might be even at the rate of 10 to 15% minimum per annum as CAGR, what we call.
Right.
So with real estate pulling that sort of a weight, then all these developers who are there will have to jump in with more capital to do these sort of large projects. Residential, commercial, industrial, mixed use, hospitality. So everything will require capital. So that's why we see this flush of developers coming in, hoteliers coming in,
Right.
REITs coming in,
Yes.
to tap the markets for this thing.
Understood.
See, and one of the main reasons why we are seeing so many IPOs now, and in the last 4-5 years, there's been such a rush of IPOs, it's because suddenly this has become a lot more viable an option in terms of capital raising. Ever since RERA came in and GST came in, suddenly following a lot more transparency became the new norm in real estate, which was not the case earlier. And with things like that already being streamlined, the builders already having gotten used to filing regular updates both with RERA and with the GST department, it then becomes your accounting, all of the things that would have fallen in a very gray area 10 years, 15 years ago are now completely in the white, and which makes it 10 times easier to raise money be it from the public, be it from an FII or a REIT or anywhere else, So
Understood.
one is that, and two, I feel this is the natural progression after the PE money comes in. It has to go out also eventually, right? So IPO is kind of the natural progression in that case too. So which is why, while I feel maybe that's another reason, apart from, of course, the need for cash and the belief in the industry, this might be another reason that IPOs are suddenly a lot more common, as a way to raise capital.
Right.
There's a third reason. I think what Abhay said is fairly good, in the sense that, yes, the industry has cleaned its act, if I can say so. Yes, for the PE players, private equity players, IPOs are a natural exit route because they have to exit out after their fund life is over. There's a third issue also. See, when interest rates get muted because your inflation has been reined in,
Right.
then for a lot of money which sits idle and passive in banks as deposits, as cash, current accounts, savings accounts, and all that, they tend to look for an outlet where they can get a better yield, higher yield.
Okay.
You understand? And most people realize that the higher yield comes from the capital markets.
Right.
Now, some people might go into bonds, some people might go into equity, some people will go into mutual funds which combine both, or a thematic or schematic. They will search for yield. There is a search for higher yield.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we are seeing over the last few years why the markets have also been very buoyant. Other than the macroeconomic factors being positive, is also a lot of money coming into the markets in search for higher returns.
Right.
That is absolutely right. Because in fact, that is one of the reasons attributed to why manufacturing is also taken a back seat in India over the last few years. Because less people are going into manufacturing because they're actually playing the markets for better returns.
Correct. Because some of the smaller fringe players say, why should I compete with the larger giants?
Okay.
So I might as well just do trading or something. But there's more money coming into the markets. And that's why I think even the rush of IPOs to tap into those money, because they can go into the secondary market.
Correct.
Where you're buying already quoted stocks. But why not IPO?
Right.
Because everybody feels an IPO is better priced. Not necessarily, but this feeling is that. And usually, majority of these IPOs have done better on listing than worse. Majority of them. Might have been a few cases where they have listed lower than the issue price, but most of them are listing higher than the issue price. So when you see that, naturally there's a tendency to go towards a higher return avenue.
Yes.
Rather than keep your funds idle and passive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've seen even like the recent lot of real estate companies that went public have been well received. We've had some, real estate development companies. We've had some infra companies, hotel and, hospitality hotels. We've also seen an emergence of a lot of these flexible workspace companies that have, filed to go public. So there are about 4 or 5 of them, without getting into names, that have announced plans that they want to go. So it seems to be, the direction in which everybody is headed.
Exactly, because as we discussed in one of our previous episodes, there is a thing called property as a service.
Correct.
So property is now not just a standalone property, a cold shell or a base shell. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants services that is plug and play or easy to move in, correct? So flexible working spaces, flexi office, that offers that exactly.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I literally have to move in with my laptops, plug in and start working.
Right.
So whether you call it as an incubator or for a startup or for somebody expanding, I'm suddenly spilling out of my existing office. Should I take, in the neighboring flexi office some space? It is going to be the thing. Because it offers flexibility and it is offering you the convenience that, look, you don't have to invest in interiors and things like that.
Yeah.
Even to the extent you don't have to invest in a pantry, you don't have to invest in a janitor, nothing. It's all given, a receptionist. Yes. Everybody is there. Security.
Yeah.
So you just sit and focus on your business. by taking those few workstations or cabins.
Right.
Correct? So there's a huge market for that. And that'll, I think, the growth of that will still continue as long as we have this entrepreneurial spirit, the startup spirit, people wanting that flexi space, expansion, incubation. So I feel them going for IPO makes a lot of sense because I'm sure most of them are doing well.
Right.
And though it's expensive than a cold shell, it is convenient.
Understood.
It's not a price saving place at all. They are expensive, but they're not selling just the space. They are selling you the whole package, the experience, the convenience, all of it, So the overall, you end up saving a lot more on overheads that you would have done while setting up anew. So it does offer a lot of, as the name suggests, flexibility, and hence it will be popular. But more than that, I feel this IPOs will give them the chance to expand, not just within the tier 1, but also to expand into tier 2 and tier 3, where the entrepreneurial spirit is there. The internet is reaching now. People are trying new things. So something like co-working, flexi-working will definitely do well as out there as well, and an IPO will give them that ability to have enough money to try their hand at different places and not be restricted to a tier 1 city only,
So we feel there's going to be more and more demand for flexi office spaces.
I believe so, yes.
That's why people who are backing these are looking to go public to raise more money because they have a positive
They will
outlook.
expand, as RBI said, they might go into tier 2, tier 3 cities. They might go into various locations because suppose I believe that tomorrow you believe your company should go to Indore. You won't go and take an office space in Indore. No?
Yeah.
You will send 2 guys to go to Indore and sit in that flexi office space. No?
Absolutely, yeah. Right now, as we are getting more corporatized, how do you see over the next decade or two, who do you see being the biggest backers of real estate financially? Will it be domestic players, foreign players?
I think it'll be a mixed bag. See, it'll be domestic and foreign, it'll be retail and family offices and institutional, it'll be a mixed bag. There will be all sorts of people who will be willing to invest. Because why? People want return on their money. It's not because of the love of the thing.
Correct.
If you believe that sneakers are going to do well, you will invest in sneakers, isn't it?
Yes.
It's not because you love sneakers.
Right.
Correct? So I would believe investors are pretty much dispassionate and they search for returns.
Right.
And they search for growth. So if an industry is giving them growth and returns, bingo, I mean, they've hit the jackpot literally. So I believe real estate will give you growth. It'll give you returns, both.
Right.
So the erstwhile era, what Abhay was referring to earlier, where, there was this whole confusion whether you're declaring your complete sale price, revenue, income, are you being very fair, are you being transparent, are you being held to the highest accounting standard? Today, those are, quite a bit receded into the background.
Understood. Yeah.
So it's pretty much clean. And so you don't have to have cash to buy a property anymore. It's all full check. Most of the home buyers use mortgage finance.
Right.
So it's all institutionalized. So I have a feeling with the coming in of RERA, as he said, with the coming of GST, with the coming in of demonetization, there might be pluses or minuses, people will argue. But for our industry, it's done a ton of good things, to clean it up, bring it into the spotlight. And now being corporatized, he is in a position where you have the financialization of real estate.
Right.
Where more and more broader, it will become broader, the pool of investors into real estate.
I'd like to ask a question here now, as we are becoming more transparent, more corporatized, more streamlined, and we're focusing on returns, which we believe real estate will give us. What happens to affordable housing? I have some interesting points here. In the first quarter of 2025, we actually saw a dip in affordable housing supply in the market. Now, there are different POVs. People are saying that this is because the demand for luxury apartments is more. Builders are finding it more financially viable to produce, luxury apartments as opposed to affordable housing. I don't know if there's a connection. That's what I'm trying to ask. As we become more corporatized, will the focus shift from affordable housing because it may not be so lucrative?
See, these are two different buckets in a way. When you all talk about affordable housing, by the very epithet you're using, affordable, that means you're saying somebody should give me a house at a price that I can afford.
Yes. Yeah.
Correct? So there is an element of what I would call subsidy which creeps in. That who's subsidizing my housing?
Correct. Yeah.
You know? Is it coming as free FSI, like what you see in slums?
Yes.
When slums rehabilitation takes place, it's free FSI you're giving the builder.
Correct.
So naturally you can give it free because it's only the construction cost. Correct? So world over, whenever you have to do housing, whether you do it for EWS, economically weaker section, whether you do it for LIG, low income group, whether you just do it for the homeless, you understand?
Yeah.
Whether you call it affordable. And we can keep on defining it. Should it be less than 30 lakh? Should it be less than 50 lakh? Should it be only 450 square feet? It has to have some sort of a subsidy. It has to have some sort of an incentive. You know, no market-driven developer will jump into it.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because he will think as to what do I gain out of it.
Right.
And unless he's doing it as philanthropy or CSR, why should he do it?
Correct.
You understand? He will try and use his property for the best use it can be put for the maximum return he can get.
Yeah.
Correct? So, per se, what happens for affordable housing is today we need the governments to step up where they have to provide public infrastructure, where they have to provide connectivity, where they have to give an incentive to the builder to be able to come and do it, not at a, no profit, no loss, but at a lesser profit.
Right.
And tie it up. You understand?
Yeah.
So that's why slum rehabilitation in Maharashtra, for example, works very well in Mumbai.
Yeah.
Because you're telling a builder, you come in, you clear out the slums, you make for him.
Yes.
So this is free FSI.
Correct.
So you're getting only construction cost, which I am spending. That's my actual capital.
Correct.
For that whole project.
Yeah.
Now that much FSI which you put into the slum, I'm going to give it to you free for you to do a free market sale.
Right.
Correct? So in a way, this is affordable housing because it's free housing. Correct. Okay. And you can charge maybe wherever. So you have to have an incentive for him.
Right.
You understand? Why if you are saying affordable housing should take off on its own, then you are asking someone that the land cost is very cheap in this place.
Which is not in your metrics.
So if the land cost has to be very cheap in that place, it's usually not well infrastructured or connected.
Yes.
I've gone into the boondocks.
Yeah.
In that neck of woods, there's not much of infrastructure.
Correct.
So if a developer goes and takes a bet out there and he makes 50,000 homes, who's going to buy it?
Correct.
So there has to be a PPP play in this, actually.
Yes.
Okay? And there is a PPP play. Even in the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, that's why they've come up with this PPP play.
Correct.
Even VADA is trying the same thing.
It'll catch traction over time. But the acute scarcity of land, the constant stress of infrastructure,
right?
You understand? So is coming as an impediment to quicker, because basically a city has to spread. If a city has to spread, then it has to have infrastructure. As I keep on telling you all that the entire Indian population needs only 1% of India's land area.
Yes,
land
you
is not
mentioned.
scarce.
Yeah.
But it means it has to spread. If it has to spread, then you need infrastructure. You need connectivity.
Correct.
You need trains. You need roads. So that is expensive. Today, we are doing a huge urban rejuvenation in this country.
Yeah.
Where tier 1 as well as tier 2 cities are putting in metros. There's a huge rejuvenation.
Right.
Unprecedented ever.
Yes.
Okay. So that itself is soaking up a lot of the money. Now that has to go into the peripheral area, extended suburbs. It has to go into satellite townships.
Right.
When and when it does to that, then naturally affordable housing will move there. Because if somebody tells me suddenly this ABC locality is going to get extremely well connected, then I know ABC locality still has land prices pretty low.
Understood. Yeah.
I can go and buy the land and put up. And people will come, even if I put up a lot of apartments, because it's going to get well connected and they can see the metro station or they can see the trains running.
Understood.
You understand? So these are all connected with a lot of public investments.
Understood.
And public planning, urban planning. It's happening, albeit at a low pace, because in any developing country, then naturally that much only your resources can go.
Right.
And I think we are doing a phenomenal job on the road expansion.
Yes.
And on the urban rejuvenation. There's no doubt about that. What we are seeing over the last 10 years is phenomenally different than what we have ever seen in a decade.
Right.
So we have set up the stage. That's why I said for a huge real estate upsurge.
Right.
But the next upsurge, as you're pointing out rightly, should be towards the masses. It has to trickle down. It shouldn't be a pyramid only.
Correct.
It should go towards the bottom half. And to go towards the bottom half, we need to now think of infrastructure stretching, pushing the borders of these major metropolis. You know, why should I stop at Dahisar? It can be pushed to Vasai Virar. Why stop at Vasai Virar? It can be pushed to Boisar.
Right.
You know, why stop at Boisar? I'll push it to Danu. You understand? So similarly, every way, whether it's in Bangalore, we have to push, bring in satellite townships, bring in tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities. And that's when I think you will have more of affordable housing.
So first step to creating affordable housing is infrastructure.
Absolutely. Otherwise, you're left him in the boondocks somewhere.
Yeah. Plus, I think it's also, one has to look at who were the players doing most of the affordable housing. Now, many of the builders into affordable housing would have been the smaller players, not the big guys. The big guys would only do it as an SRA project or something like that. And the thing is, in the last few years, a lot of the smaller players have not been able to keep up with the modernization that's happened of real estate, whether it's RERA requirements, whether it's capital requirements and stuff like that. Some of them have gotten bought over by the bigger players and stuff like that. So I'm like, for the moment, since the market has just changed, that's why more of the builders have moved towards luxury. It's safer. It's a safer bet, guaranteed returns. You know it's working. And that is something that they were already doing. I feel once more and more of the smaller players get their footing, figure out how to start raising money, how to do the RERA compliance, GST compliance, how to actually spend 80% of the capital raised on completing that project before jumping onto the next, and get those basic things in order, then we might again start seeing a uptake in affordable housing as well.
You're right. But you see, the interesting point Abhay, is that there's a paradox out there. Because typically, for affordable housing, you have to bring down your construction cost also, correct?
Correct.
A construction cost comes down by using technology, okay? Let's say you need to use precast, prefabricated. Right. Those can only be used on mass scale. I cannot put up one building of 50 flats and use precast. I'll have to put up 10 buildings and do for 500 flats at least to do those, leverage those technology. So a small player has to become big. He can become a niche player. But affordable housing by itself is mass housing, where I need to have scale, because that also helps in the connectivity in the infrastructure. Because even for the public and for the government, it becomes easier if I put up a township. And it requires the developer to be able to leverage technology. Whether whether it is precast, prefab, formwork, because he needs it to go like an assembly line. So smaller players might find it difficult.
All right. Thank you. That's a wrap for this week's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to share your thoughts and feedback in the comment section below. Hit the bell icon for regular notifications. Don't forget to follow us on our social media handles. Until next time, thank you.